Hello and welcome to the 3T RPG podcast. My name is Harrison Hunt and with me is Nick Manley.
Oops, upside your head.
And of course we've got James Clark here.
Hello.
This is an RPG podcast all about tabletop RPGs and today we have got one hell of a show for you. But before we get into it, let's talk about Dark Armies, right? Because specifically we've got one which you can join at patreon.com/3T RPG podcast. And of course I'd like to thank Julian Burnick, Ace Beeler, Jason Duncan and Ryan Wahab who all pledge at the Devil King level over at Patreon. But we have tiers there for all shapes and sizes, so join the Dark Army now. But today, as I've said, we've got the show of a lifetime, I'm going to call it, right? Because we got feedback, we got the news, the RPG news, we got What You Slaying, we got the main subject where we are going to talk about, well, we're going to make our own setting from scratch in under an hour. Yeah, and then we've got Electro Letters followed by our award-winning outro. Shall we do some feeded back?
Let's feed the back. Yes.
The feedback side. The feedback side. Yes, bitch, the feedback side. It's the feedback section.
Yeah, we take your comments and read them out. Yeah, feedback, bitch.
So, we released our new actual play and things have gone into fucking stellar. The fans have been praising us with the ferocity of a baboon. And I want to say a big thank you for listening to all the new people as well. It's great to have all you new guys and girls on board. I'm going to read out a few of the feedbacks we've received now. In addition to being retweeted by Merkborg on Twitter, despite using the C word extensively in the episode, Johan Noor, who's the artist and graphic designer for Merkborg, said, "I love this. The production is terrific."
Oh, yes.
All right?
Oh, yes.
And if there's,
yes.
if there's anyone who knows about production, it's that bloke. Or woman. I don't know. There's another one that comes in from Vido from Reddit. He says, "This is one of the most well-produced APs I've ever listened to. The voices were terrific and the gallows humour was great too." I've got to say, I think James specifically, your voice, I think it's got a lot of the lady listeners. They're, they're having a good time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're no longer dry.
Oh, God.
So, James, just to give a little message in character to all the ladies out there.
Hello there, all the ladies out there. I would like you to listen to our actual play. Do it today.
Don't forget to mention me, my lord.
Yes, him too.
It's the ASMR segment with Torn. He's like, "Okay, you want a haircut?"
Right, let's get the snippies out.
Snippies. But my favourite feedback, it comes in from somebody called Alec Hedwig. He says, "I started listening at work and immediately thought about how much my wife would love it too. Fast forward to tonight as I prep my next session in my notebook and she's getting crafty as we both listen and laugh. This is fantastic. Thanks a ton."
Wow.
The reason I like this feedback so much is because he listens to it with his wife. I don't think my wife has ever listened to more than 30 seconds of this podcast, and she's married to me, who made it. So that pisses me off.
I think we better have a word.
Yeah, exactly.
I can best you on that. My girlfriend's listened to one of our actual plays so far.
And
just one episode.
And went, ugh.
So what we're saying is we sort of like battle of the wives here. Your one is the best one. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, that's it.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This podcast has now become, we're going to try and, what we'll do eventually is we'll sort of start up a skirmish.
We'll put them in the ring.
Well, I was going to say start up a skirmish game using Savage Worlds and get them all to fight each other. We make them as characters, which is going to be, it's going to be a bit awkward because we'll have to give them hindrances, you know. And it'll be like
one hindrance married to Nick. Other hindrance married to Harrison.
Very good.
Quirk talks too fucking much.
Well, that sounds like fun. I think we need to do that.
If there's, it's otherwise called Divorce to the Game.
Divorce the game. Yeah. We can make it a wrestling game.
Don't, sorry. So
You got a bit too excited then.
one of my favourite feedbacks though came in. We've started a new YouTube series, the famous Ham Flanderson.
Oh, Ham Flanderson, yep.
Yes, mate.
That took years trying to break that deal, but we've broken that deal, should I say? But we finally pulled it off.
And Ham has actually started. He took years making the video. Obviously, it's a review of Dungeons and Dragons, and I think one of the best reviews out there. But we had a bit of feedback from a guy on YouTube who simply said this was like having a stroke.
Lactose not tolerant.
Yeah, exactly. I'll actually put a clip of that in here now.
Fourth edition was not good, but fifth edition is good, which is why I like it. I also like it because I can be a cat person and I can do a sex on another cat person, but my mum told me I wasn't to think about that stuff anymore after she found my private drawings under my bed, which she shouldn't be looking at actually anyway.
Yeah, go and watch that YouTube series. It's on our YouTube channel, and of course we post all the podcasts on there as well, but we're going to start having Ham do regular segments for us, so yeah, subscribe, all right?
But his agent let us know that he's finally his diary's finally got a bit of space, so we've locked him in for some regular stuff now. So that's good.
We've locked him up for some regular stuff,
which is quite similar to his childhood, actually. Anyway, that is it for feedback this time. Thank you very much for all the new listeners and the great feedback on the actual play. I appreciate it. And if you haven't listened to that, now go and do it. Okay, all right?
Do it because we're proud of it, and it's really good, I think.
All right, let's do some news.
Oh, yeah, news punch.
All right, so the biggest piece of news that sort of came out within the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's kind of old news now, but Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weis are suing Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. And the deal with this is that, so they originally wrote the sort of Dragonlance campaign setting and all of the books, the novels, which people are familiar with. And sort of, it's a big money maker for Wizards of the Coast, right? And with their most recent contract, what it was is they'd just been contracted to write a bunch more novels, right? And they were making mad buck off of this, like just mad money, Margaret and Tracy. And in the end, what happened was that because of today's sort of political sort of spectrum, people were looking at the older Dragonlance novels and saying, you know, that some of them aren't politically correct, things like this, and that they need more representation in them. So their contract kind of with the publishing company who are publishing the books and Wizards who are sort of overseeing the whole thing, they said to them that, okay, so they can write the novels, but if any changes come ahead, they'll have to change it and rewrite the novels. What happened was that the publishing company essentially in the contract said that they would have to authorise any changes and authorise any edits, and in the end they decided to scrap the whole project, which would be a breach of contract because they were supposed to write like 10 novels or something like this. And in the end, so what they did is they asked for a change and then decided not to actually reread it and edit it, therefore putting Margaret and Tracy in a deadlock, disallowing them any money, and sort of not going ahead. So they basically just didn't approve the changes that they'd made. As a result, Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weis are suing them for $10 million.
What?
Yeah. Well, I think what they want is you're supposed to sue for half the amount you want as a settlement. So what they really want is $5 million because there's like a 10-year contract or something like this.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the sort of people we're dealing with Wizards of the Coast. But I know this is kind of old news, but go and watch, there's a Dungeon Craft video on it, sort of explaining the whole thing. But that's basically where we're at here because essentially they just found almost a loophole in the contract to not pay them and not continue with any of the production.
That's well shitty.
It's terrible, and the thing about it is that, okay, Wizards could release another Dragonlance novel and it would sell a little bit, but another one written by these two people who are like superheroes in this fucking genre and made the fucking setting is a big fucking deal. So they could probably sell loads, at least on the first one, do you know what I mean? But they've just really shot themselves in the foot. It's stupid, utterly stupid. But the next bit of news, Bobby Evans digs a hole and jumps in it. So this isn't really like huge news, right? But obviously it involves Bobby Evans and he's done something fucking stupid. And unfortunately this is mildly political. But so here's what happened. He released a video on his YouTube channel and it's gone viral and it's for the wrong reasons, right? But what happened was on his YouTube, he says, I'll no longer be working with Pinnacle. I'm really sad to announce. He's never worked with Pinnacle. He never has. He reviews their products on a really bad YouTube show. That's what he does, right?
We could say we work with all sorts of people then, if that's the...
I'm no longer working with Wizards of the Coast, okay, guys? All right, since this Margaret and Tracy thing, I'm fucking...
We're not working with them anymore.
Right. So,
I'm no longer working with Paizo.
yeah, exactly.
Are you not? Are you not?
No,
Are you not, James?
No.
But
No. Oh,
but you've read
no.
Pathfinder, which counts as working with them.
Yeah,
right?
I own some of their material, so
Right,
obviously,
Bobby?
Well, being a Chaosium shareholder, because I have 2 books. I just want to.
No, I'm a shareholder because I've got their books and I share them with my mates, all right?
Yeah, I share them. I share the experience.
So, but the sort of crux of Bobby Evans' video, what it was that Pinnacle, who make Savage Worlds, have released some artwork that you can use in your Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild products, right? And one of them was labelled as Asian Wizard, right? Which obviously was a sort of label put on there so that you could put a wizard in your game or use it as a character, and they can be from Japan, from Thailand, and it's broad, so it can be from multiple backgrounds. Bobby Evans perceived the word Asian as being racist and said he'll no longer be working with Pinnacle, and he turned off all comments on his videos, and as a result, somebody posted them on the official Savage Worlds Facebook group, and it went mental. And now his video is like one of the most viewed Savage Worlds videos ever. And what was interesting is that I was reading a lot of the comments, going through all of this stuff, and it was mostly Asian people saying, yeah, saying Asian isn't racist. Saying it's racist, that's racist. So it was a bit... Yeah, I mean, I get it, because there was a lady from Thailand who was in the comments there, and she kind of said, you know, I'd prefer it if, rather than being sort of generic, they would make, you know, a Thai wizard and specifically tie it to, you know, Thai occultism and things like this, you know, like have the proper outfits, the types of spells. And I get that. I think, though, what they have to remember is the intent was that they were trying to be inclusive, right? They were trying to make things so that people could play people of different backgrounds. And I think that's a good move. That's a nice thing to do. And if anything, Savage Worlds are probably one of the most conscious games and developers out there. So
definitely.
Bobby Evans is one of these people that he wants to look for things to complain about. And this was just one such video. And I just think it was really...
Well, he's a massive clickbaiter.
That's what it is. That's what it is. James, you're Asian, and often at our games, just for sake of ease, because we got 2 Jameses there, we might say Asian James. I don't, but other people say it. But it's not racist. It's just you are that. I mean,
I mean, we've done it the opposite way around. We'll sit there and be like white James.
Yeah, that's what we should start doing.
That is racist, isn't it?
Caucasian James. Caucasian James. That's it. It's too much of a mouthful. We'll just call you James and other James. There we go.
There you go.
We got 2 other bits of news. Shut up, all right, it's over, right, we're moving on.
All right, okay, sorry, right, left, right.
Okay, right, so, all right? Okay. Critical Role starts publishing company.
Oh, no.
And that's all we need to say on that, really.
Yeah, okay, good then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what they're making yet. I assume it's going to be linked to their actual plays and stuff, so whatever. Good luck to them, all right? Good luck to them, okay? All right?
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, luck.
The last bit of news, though, this is fucking amazing, right? Because there's a new setting coming out in the Morkborg family of products called Cyborg.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, the artwork for it is phenomenal. It looks tame.
It's insane. They've somehow managed to translate the sort of minimal black metal look to a cyberpunk future with a couple of like sort of of those neon colours.
It's like black metal but glitch.
And all we know about it so far is that they've posted on their Facebook that fucking image. And what was fucking cool about it is, if you know your black metal history, the sort of Mayhem and specifically a guy called Euronymous owned a store in Norway called Helvete, which is the Norwish for hell. And if you look closely on that image of Cyborg and you zoom into his gun, it's got a little bar on the side of the gun that says Helvete. So it says hell 100%. So it's a hell gun.
Yes.
Nice. They don't hang around, do they, the Morkborg boys?
Exactly. So that's all we know so far. They've posted an image, but fuck, I'm excited, because if they do well with this one as they did their other product, it's going to be fucking amazing. A really dark cyberpunk.
I feel like they're kind of they're going to be sort of taken over big time. If they keep it up, I feel like they're going to be like they're going to be a main name for many people.
I have to agree. I mean, the amount of traction they got last year, if they keep up and keep on with these really decent, comprehensive products, I agree completely. We could easily see them sort of being the next, Wizards of the Coast. Hopefully, I hope.
But better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not going to start, drawing up dodgy contracts. Unless they do, we don't know.
Doing a Grant Shaftesbury on them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, and nobody's going to know what that means. But that is it for news, boys. So, yeah, some good, some bad, mostly bad. Mostly bad news this time. It's funny because... Oh, shit.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, he's fallen.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like he fell.
I can assure you I did not fall. That was me. That was my phone falling out my pocket and onto the floor.
Close enough.
Yeah, but yeah, so let's get on to what we've been playing and what you slaying, shall we?
One of these. Oi, yeah? What you slaying?
Tasty.
James, you've got to stop with these noises. It's like it's too sexual.
It's too erotic, mate. It's too early for this eroticism.
It's 10 in the morning on a Sunday. We can't deal with it.
It's God's day.
It's God's. All right, so we've been continuing our old school essentials game. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Good. See you later. Good night.
Anyway, yeah. So long story short, the characters in this game, they're sort of long surviving characters of a previous campaign where their world sort of ended, and now they've ended up on a science fantasy world where it's so far past an apocalypse that humanity has started again and it's gone back to tribalism. But the artifacts of the ancient ones, as in our civilization, can be found all over the place and people worship them and things like this. So it's science fantasy, and basically the whole crux of this campaign is that many of the tribes people, specifically as well the ones of the player's tribe, have been being kidnapped in the night by these people in hazmat suits that the tribes call the Rubbermen. And these Rubbermen have been taking their blood, doing experiments on them, things like this. And the party have all decided that they're going to make a trek across the jungle of this purple planet and take some of their gold and try to bargain with who they call the Rubbermen and try to just give them some money to leave them alone. And the party have now got their own UFO. They've got a bunch of laser weaponry. They've got loads and loads of shit, right? And they're mutated all over the place. James, for example, your character, the runaway priest who is a bard, he's got a giant head which gives him -2 AC.
Oh yeah.
Nick, your character, he's shrunk to a tiny size.
We've shrunk down.
So we've got everyone's all fucked up and weird. One of the character's got
3 breasts.
6 actually. He's got three pairs.
I was at 6 breasts,
which is actually a good mutation because it means that he gets 1 ration of food a day from his own.
So fucking disgusting.
It's not nice, is it? But this, the mutations are taken pretty much straight from Mutant Crawl Classics. A lot of this stuff is, in fact, a lot of the artifacts are from MCC. A lot of the monsters you fight, all of this stuff. And because it's OSR, I can combine the two. But yeah, so the guys are kind of on their way to meet with the Rubbermen, and it's this huge technologically advanced city that these guys are operating around with a huge wall round the side. They don't let any mutants in, and people go out in hazmat suits and take them. And I kind of thought that the guys were going to fly their UFO over, try and open up communications with the Rubbermen in the city, which is called the Spindle, right? Because it's got this giant citadel which reaches into the clouds, so it looks like a needle. Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to open up communications, say, look, we've got some gold for you to leave us alone. But what they did is they sort of snuck in, and I was like,
oh yeah,
this is no way to open up a conversation. We had 2 of the party trying to dig under the wall, while one of them was in a full-on chase with a bunch of the Rubbermen, like the officers and that, chasing him through the streets of this futuristic, like, lone city in this horrible wasteland, while another one was sort of skulking through the city, hiding in the shadows. And so we sort of had a 3-way split of the party as soon as they got into the fucking city. And when they were trying to meet up, 2 of them went into an apartment, killed the owner of the apartment while he was trying to go for a piss. One of them was sneaking through the streets. James's character hid in a pile of fruit in the middle of the market, and they only realised he was there because people started doing perception rolls and they just see some eyes sort of peeking out of a pile of fruit and winking at him.
Yeah. and a little bouffon.
Yeah.
It was fucking mental.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that session, I literally just threw my notes out straight away because the stuff you guys were doing was insane. I mean, we eventually they all met up within the city as fugitives, you know, and it was crazy. They were in this flat, you know, and then they were trying to go into people's flats stealing hazmat suits
Rubber
so that they could.
suits. Yeah, he was looking for
Yeah.
rubber suits. Yeah.
And it ended up with, you know, one of the characters, this character called Grant, he's a barbarian. He bursts into this poor woman's apartment. She's sitting there, you know, in a towel, watching TV. And I said that, you guys, because I thought that will deter him from doing anything stupid. It's just an innocent woman in a towel. And immediately he leaps on her, pins her to the ground, puts his hand over her mouth, and he's going, "Give me the fucking suits!" It's awful.
Where's the suits?
James, what did your character do then?
Well, he walked in, saw that, you know, there was 2 people on top of this woman, and then he just walked out.
Yeah, he just goes, "Nope," and went back downstairs to their apartment. Yeah. It was
There's some real bad stuff going on.
Anyway, like, it was a pretty cool scene, even though it wasn't one I planned for at all, but it was pretty cool because these guys were fugitives in a city where anyone could see them as a suspect, and they were doing their best to sort of, you know, to try to get basically to the Spindle, this big building right in the middle, and have a word with the guy that owns it. I'm going to sort of cut the story short and just say eventually they did make it, and they found out that the guy he's basically got to get 2 other substations that are linked to that one onto online to sort of a fantasy version of the internet. And once he does so, nanomachines can use the energy of the planet to rebuild their civilization as it used to be. But it's going to kill all the tribes. It's going to reset the Earth, as it were. And he wants these guys to help them bring those 2 substations online. And yeah, that's basically where we're at. So we kind of stopped the game there and had it so, okay, maybe...
Dilemma time.
Dilemma time. Let's chat about it on the Facebook group. Let's chat about it. Some people are saying, right, we just ask the guy for the information as to where the substations are, then destroy them so that they can't destroy this world as similar technology did on the last world. And some people are saying, no, maybe we do it, you know, we can you know, have a massive civilization again, things like this. But
yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's a bit of a nature versus science thing.
Yeah,
it is. It's pretty decent. I like how it's sort of, the way it started, it was proper desolate and just nasty, creepy, like gross and mutatey. And then we just happened across this massive city where like everything's hustle bustle.
Well, it's kind of still, you know, horrible and desolate, but it just so happens that there's that one city that are trying to sort of rebuild humanity that is still there. And, you know, I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it would be a kind of fun twist. I think other things have done similar things, like old novels and stuff, but I thought this is a nice opportunity, and it sort of explains, you know, it gives you a bad guy, and then now the bad guys want you to work for them, and the big thing is they'll say, if you help us do this, you'll be kings in our new civilization. So, yeah, we'll see.
I liked the bit when Grant rolled really well when he was like, "We're god killers, mate," and then the bloke's like had to take a second think about it. He was like, "What?"
Yeah, because basically the only reason this guy now wants them on side, he was just going to imprison you, is because one of the characters gave this incredible speech. It was amazing. He was just like, "Mate, you don't even know who the fuck I am. I've done things you couldn't even dream about, son. I've killed gods, so don't you fuck with me." And he gave this big speech, and I was like,
yeah.
Even still, I think you should just roll for it. And he rolled, and he gets a crit, and the guy suddenly pauses, this leader of this crazy civilization. He pauses, and he's like, "Well, you know, maybe we could work together, you and I." But then suddenly the other 3 characters bowl in, and one of them's got fruit on his head. It was fun, man. It was fun, and yeah. So we'll see sort of the aftermath of that in the next session. We're obviously in lockdown 2 at the moment, you know, and as a result, we're playing online. But I have to say, I'll get your guys' thoughts on this. One of the things I've been doing is using the ICRPG method, and even when we're not in combat, just going around the table and seeing what everyone's doing. And I think it's actually working a little better for online.
It is for online. It's quite good, just because. It's a good setup, as in, like, you know, we know that it's going to be turn taking, so to speak. But, you know, someone can always be like, "Oh, can I be doing that with you?" And then that sort of happens or stuff like that. But
yeah, exactly. If somebody wants to jump in, I'll allow them. But yeah,
do you know what? It's because obviously we're not really using a virtual tabletop, are we, at all? We're just literally logging in on our phones through Discord and having quite a casual rolling real dice type game. And I was thinking, if you want to play an online game and you want all the bells and whistles and that is your primary way of playing, then virtual tabletops are fantastic, and it does all the fun stuff and all the automation to make it more interesting. If you're substituting a table game because you're in a bit of a jam and you'd rather play something than not play at all, then I think the way we're doing it is really good, because you still really have that kind of table feel, but you are playing online at the time, because we have
like the freedom of it, because it's like at the table, you can stand up, walk into another room, still hear what's going on, and sort of like, quickly pick something up or munch something. But when you're on the computer, you're tied to your computer because you're just like, all right, okay, I'll be back. I just need to just grab a drink. But whilst we're on our phones, we can just walk out and then sort of grab a drink, but still be completely immersed in the game.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's still, especially now people are working all day on a computer, we kind of wanted to do it this way to get away from the annoyance of people having to look at a computer again for another 4 hours in the evening. And I think it's working.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think it substitutes the table game better, because we're doing all theatre of the mind, and as a result, all it is just we're rolling as we normally would, which is fun, and it's just like playing a table game, and going around and doing the turns means people don't have to wait for their fucking turn. So if you're playing a game out there and you're playing online and you've moved your table game, I agree with Nick, like, just try this method out and maybe pick up ICRPG, because it's full of great tips like that. Definitely. Give that a try.
I think the best feedback from this setup was from Ryan, when he because he has basically a really bad home setup for working, and then doing the game as well on the computer is really stressful for him. But he said that he loves it because he's there on his phone with his headset on, and he said at one point he was just laying on his bed with his eyes shut, just enjoying the game, as opposed to
visualizing,
sitting up, hunched over his laptop, trying to do this, that, and the other. So I think that's the best feedback.
Also, another sort of streamlining thing is I've got everyone's sheets printed out, keeping them on an online doc, and I have all of them in front of me, so there's never any confusion. Those idiots at the table who you have to point out where shit is on their sheet constantly.
Yeah. And Harrison can roll for us as well.
And the bennies.
And
you track the bennies for us as well.
Yeah, so I keep all bennies reroll tokens on people's sheets, and just and then also somebody needs to roll, and I say roll wisdom. Instead of going roll wisdom and waiting for them to find it, I'll just say it's just a d20 plus 1, and then you roll it. Simple.
Yes, mate.
But
yeah, it's good. It's working.
Yes, but the other thing we played Merkborg for the actual play. You can hear how much we enjoyed that if you just go and listen to it. But let's just get your guys' thoughts on it. Nick, how did you enjoy it now you've actually played the system?
Oh, it's cracking. It's really, really good. I thought it would be, to be honest with you. You read a book and you get a feel for it, and it's just lived up to what I thought it would be. I love the darkness, because you've got all the darkness and all the I don't know, just the tone there, and then you can just do what you like with it. So obviously we inserted a little bit of dark humour into it, and I think it still works. It's versatile as hell, and it's cracking.
Yeah, and the thing that I kind of liked about it was it's just sort of dealing with low damage, and that never really changes.
Yeah.
So the grittiness stays. It's not like you're going to get to a point where you have 50 HP. It's a gritty fucking game, and I think we kind of did that justice. But James, how about you?
I do.
Did you enjoy playing it?
Oh yeah, completely. I do like everything being quite a low ball in that is pretty astounding, because it does what we liked about DCC, and it gives you mortality rate is quite high, so it makes you it gives you fear. But the fact that you're dealing with low numbers completely, it's just like it gives you fear, but you know that there's like a really good chance of everything that's going on. It's just got a real nice feel to it, the whole game, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, it does, because it's no bullshit, and it's all fur coat and all knickers at the same time. I felt like
and bravo with the character James Kettler. He's fantastic.
Cheers, buddy.
Can't catch me, you bitch.
But I liked one of my favourite lines in the whole thing was obviously. I won't spoil the actual situation, but for Merkborg, one of the things you kind of do is the characters are almost differentiated by the little random things you roll when you create them. Occult Herbmasters are sort of one exception to this because they have the whole potion mechanic. So James's character, he's playing Wretched Royalty, and at first I was kind of dubious about having a talking weapon because we kind of had that in one of our other campaigns, but I looked at the list of all of the things that Wretched Royalty can get. And you know they're all talking. You can have a talking horse,
Nice.
Yes.
loads of different things. So James has got a talking sword, right? Which is cool. It's a family heirloom with his uncle imbued into the sword, and also he's got a dagger called the Snakeskin Gift. And the cool thing about this is if you roll damage and it comes up a 1, whatever you stab dies instantly. Cool thing. And right at the end, you know, he kills somebody and he just goes, "To you, I will give the snakeskin gift." And then he stabs him. It's fucking brilliant.
So good,
What
mate.
a line. I
So
took
good.
that opportunity. I was just like, it needs to be one of those like proper, you know, those cliffhanger moments.
There were some good lines,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I think, though, that we've, as for the character classes that you guys have picked, you've probably picked the 2 most unique ones because it's hard to sort of quantify what a Wretched Royalty is because it's just sort of a fighter, but their big thing is their sort of family heirlooms, the things that they get. That's what differentiates them from everyone else. And the Occult Herbmaster, of course, is like an alchemist, but you don't really see that much in games. You see it maybe as a skill, but I love it because, you know, you brewed one potion up that was a healing one that can cure disease.
Yep.
And that's random. And you brewed another one up that makes somebody sick.
Really sick, yeah.
That was amazing.
It literally makes them puke for 1d4 hours, but I thought if we do that, we're never going to bloody move on. But
Oh my god! Right, no more spoilers. No more spoilers. If you haven't listened to it yet, please do go check it out.
So let me tell you guys about a couple of things I've been reading in the last couple of weeks. First of all, I picked up Troika. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, what this is an RPG by a British company, Melasonian Arts Council, and thing about this is it's an OSR game, but more for the fighting fantasy game books turned into an RPG rather than OSR from original D&D. And it's a very, very simple system where really you only have 3 stats. You've got stamina, which is your life. You've got luck, which is a spendable resource. And you've got skill, which is a general term for how skilled you are. And then you kind of add that to your abilities and roll them together. And your abilities depend on which class you get. The cool thing about this game, though, really, that I really quite like, is sort of the implied setting and the weirdness of it, because the setting is implied to be like a Planescape thing, right? So it's like almost set in this city of infinite portals, and the portals, a key through them can be anything. So the key could be that you have to pat yourself on the head and say Bibble 5 times.
Nice.
Or it could be that you need the toe of an ogre. It could be that you need a laser gun, whatever. And that's kind of it. But the classes, there's D6 of them. So there's quite a few. And you can be like a monkey monger, a rhino man. You can be a robot called a thought, like a brain computer. I can't remember what the fuck it's called. But
Awesome.
There's loads and loads of weird shit like that. And the spells are fucking weird. It's pretty cool. I think the setting is the best part about it. The only trouble is that some of the system is really, really well thought out. Some of it's vague, but not in a good way. So, for example, the luck mechanic. It says whenever the GM wants you to test your luck, you have to roll under your luck score and then you take off 1 luck point. Simple. But it doesn't say why you would use it, what situations it would be used for, when the players can call for it, except for in battle, and things like this. So I don't know if you use it to re-roll, use it to add numbers to a roll, whatever. It's quite vague.
Oh.
That's kind of my one criticism.
Fair enough.
And other than that, I think it's really, really cool and would be great for playing a Planescape-like game. The artwork is amazing as well. It's so
really
fucking
is.
strange. But
it really is.
I like it a lot. I'm going to give it some more thought and read it a bit more, but I think I like it quite a lot.
Yeah, it's cracking. I'm glad. You were nice enough to buy it for me at Dragon Meet, mate, last year. And
Well, because I knew because of the weirdness, it'll be up your alley.
Oh, mate, definitely. And I've been using the little bag that come free with it ever since.
Oh, I forgot it came with a bag.
Yeah, it's got a turtle with a castle on its back. It's cracking.
That's cool.
Very nice. Yeah, there's another cool mechanic I like in it, which is, I think this is a leftover from the Fighting Fantasy books, but your gear, each slot is 1 item, and every character just has 12 of them. Simple as that. if you want to get something out of your bag during a fight, you have to roll and beat the number of the slot that it's in. If you don't, you spend your turn getting it out. If you do, you can get it out and do something, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. That is really cool.
That's quite interesting.
And basically, the bit of advice the book gives is keep arrows at the top of your fucking bag.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, imagine
cool.
if you were an archer and all of your ammo's at the bottom of your bag. Yeah, so it's a very, very nice little thing, and I quite like it, and I want to get more into it. But here's the thing I wanted to mention is that Melatonin Arts Council, who make it, have an option on their website for a lot of products, not all of them, that you just enter the level of poverty that you're at, and you can get a discount on the product just for simply saying, look, I haven't got that much money, can I pay less? And I just think that's just a very, very nice thing to do. And me being dirt poor, obviously, I've got the poverty level. But yeah, so instead of buying it for 24 quid, I got it for 18, which is incredible.
Really good, yeah.
To me, that just means they're a great company, and also all of their other products look amazing, and they've got very weird names. There's a book all about mushrooms. It's a whole book about weird mushrooms. There's another one called Fronds of Benevolence. There's one called Acid Death Fantasy, which looks fucking cool.
Sounds wicked.
But yeah,
That does sound cool.
check out that company. Check out Troika RPG.
Yeah.
It looks fucking cool. We got one last thing. I know this is going long, but to talk about, Jeremy, what you're saying. We got sent a little book. This is sponsorship alert, but I am going to be honest about it. You guys have seen it. It's the Book of Battle Mats. I'm just going to actually have to get it from my shelf.
It's
I can't remember who made it.
real nice.
Okay, so this is from Loki Battle Mats. Loke Battle Mats. And essentially what they are, they do big ones, small ones, and medium ones, and it is a book of battle mats that comes in a ring-bound thing, so you can open it up and lay it flat on the table and use it as a battle mat at a moment's notice. They sent us the little one, right, which is 16 by 16 on either side of the book, so it makes one long map. And I originally thought when I saw it in the box, which was huge, by the way, because obviously they've put it in a box for they would usually use with the big ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, I originally thought that this was going to be way too small, but once you open it out, yeah, the maps are somewhat little in comparison to like an A3, but this little one here that we got sent is perfect for random encounters.
Yeah.
If you just need to slap down a grid and have a really quick environment. They're really high quality, made of super fucking sturdy cardboard, and it's just really nice, man. If you need a really quick battle map.
Are they dry wipe?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dry wipe as well.
Exactly, and Loki Battle Maps sell on their site stickers to put on them as well that are re-stickable. So, like, if you just want to slap a tree down, you can do that, or crate or whatever.
That's cool.
So cool. Yeah, it is cool.
The one they've sent us is Dungeon Edition, so I assume that they do other types as well, like sci-fi and things like this. But definitely check them out. I've seen the big ones at conventions and stuff, and almost bought them, but realised it would be too big to lug home. But obviously they send them out too. So check out Loki Battle Mats and their Book of Battle Maps because they're really, really fucking good.
They are.
But that's it for what we've been saying. Shall we do a main subject?
Let's do it.
Let's
I think
do it.
so.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I am.
Main. Subject. Magic. Main. Subject. Tokyo. Main. Subject.
Alright, so I'm a little bit nervous about this one. This could be our worst episode yet, and that's before we've even done the main subject, right? Because what we're going to do today, we're going to create a campaign setting in under an hour from scratch. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I think this main subject is going to be an effort, right, to hopefully show you guys that it's easy to start a game up from scratch and create a campaign setting. If it goes horribly wrong, which is possible, we might just start it all again. Because I did this on another podcast once, and it was awful. It was so bad. But I think with the three of us, I think we can make something good. All right.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to I've got sort of these questions, and we're going to go through and answer them, and sort of come up with a setting together, and sort of workshop the whole thing. And we'll try to keep each bit brief. But so the first thing that we're going to start with, right? We're not going to start with system, anything like that. We're going to get all the setting out of the way and then talk about mechanics and things later. So first of all, our inspirations. Let's just go around and let's see what us guys have been into recently, what we want to inspire us in this bloody thing. So Nick, we'll start with you. What's your inspiration for this so far?
Well, I've been thinking about it this week, and I'm just thinking of something that's absolutely terrifying that probably most people can agree with, and that is the year 2020.
Okay, so I should probably get a fucking pen. Did you hear that?
Yes.
I should probably get a pen. That's got to stay in.
Yeah.
Right, 2 seconds. I'm just grabbing a pen, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to get a pad as well, actually.
Why aren't you prepared?
Fuck you! I did the fucking notes, man.
Yeah, true.
I know. I'm joking, man.
Well, yeah. Well,
Well, man.
joke your way to the fucking bin, will ya? All right. So inspirations. First of all, we're going to go with the year 2020. Not sure I'm happy with that one, but fine. That's Nick. That's your first inspiration. James, you been into anything recently? What you want to slap in there?
I want to slap in an anime I've watched recently called God of High School.
God of High School. What a name.
It's just basically like a fighting tournament that I got to do and just get to the top, and then it involves borrowing God's powers.
That's
In a
right. There's
school.
something coming already. There's something coming already.
All right. So we've got 2020. We've got God of High School.
You know, it's graduation year.
It's graduation year. Yeah, okay. All right, so we got 2020, God of High School. I was gonna put down Sailor Moon because I've been rereading that recently. I've also been really into Inside Number 9. So I'm gonna put Inside Number 9 on there because it's classic horror anthology stuff, and it's basically a horror comedy. I like comedy. I like horror. So those are going to be sort of our inspirations going into this. We've got the year 2020. God of High School and Inside Number 9. It's already looking terrible, boys. The next question is we're gonna sort of go for what genre and tone are we going for? Because I think at the moment this is all over the place, right? With these inspirations,
Yeah,
so we've got to
is.
kind of nail it down. I'm thinking if it's about high school kids borrowing God's powers in 2020 and there's some horror elements to it. I think if we go for sort of wacky horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedy horror.
Yeah,
But
okay.
no, wacky horror is probably actually is the better way to phrase it.
Yeah, because of that anime influence. But if we go for comedy horror, right? And we've got all of these things like so next up we're going to sort of ask what is the hook of the setting. Now what we'll do is we'll go around, we'll kind of give like all of our own sort of interpretations of what we think the hook is. So, for example, this could be like if I was saying Deadlands to you, it would be that's got about every hook on the planet. But it would be that it's the Weird West, not the Wild West. So it's the West, but there's gadgets and monsters. All right. So, Nick, what do you think the hook of this setting is?
Ooh. Okay, the hook of this setting is that it's the fact that it's the year 2020, so everything has changed. I.e., there's some sort of event that made this game worth playing. So the whole thing is that life was completely normal, and up to the year 2020, and then it's hard, isn't it?
So how about then? How about then we take for the 2020 thing, we'll take a pandemic. We'll say that, right? It could be. We'll get into what the specific pandemic is, right? But if you're saying that things have changed, it's 2020, and you play high school kids with powers. How about this? The pandemic has happened, right? It can be zombies, it could be ghosts, it could be whatever it is, right? But
and you've got to fight it by borrowing powers from gods.
Yep, and sort of the Inside Number 9 influence for the hook could be that it's a Monster of the Week type setting, right? So what if the pandemic was like people have been made to stay at home from school because it's dangerous out there, just like 2020.
Yep.
People are quarantining because somebody opened up like somebody did
Portal to hell or some shit.
a portal to hell. Yeah.
The like the pandemic itself is being.
It's the vehicle.
What's to say? It's coming out as demons, and then when the demons slay you, you're infected by the pandemic.
Well, I think that might be overcomplicating it. But how about if the demons brought with them disease? You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
If you're outside, you're either going to get infected or killed. One of the two, right?
Yeah. That's
And
good.
now you play as kids in kids who have been laid off of high school and are sort of staying at home, right? and you've used the power of the gods to battle these demons. And the Inside Number 9 influence comes from the fact that it's a demon summoning. It's gothic horror, right? We're not talking about like Japanese horror. We're talking about Draculas are coming out the ground, Frankenstein's, werewolves.
I like it. Oh,
Yes,
what
mate.
about? Oh, what about as well? How about then if the kids are the heroes? Perhaps this pandemic has somehow entrapped all adults, and they're in some sort of trance, and that's the whole thing as well. Is that obviously the kids want to get their families back? So in order to battle, the if they win this battle, then they can save all their parents.
Yeah, okay, how about this then? So yeah, the kids are saving their parents, demons, pandemic. I'm just writing this down. So alright, cool. So the kids are heroes. The demons have been snatching up adults,
Yeah.
and that's why the kids have got to save their parents from these monsters.
Yeah.
Because the parents are so jaded with life that they're the ones that are more susceptible to being taken by multiple Draculas.
Yeah, multiple Draculas. Nice.
So to sum up the hook then, really quickly, it's that a portal to hell was opened, and now the kids are using the powers of gods to save the adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a pandemic on, so people are being quarantined. The streets are empty,
Yeah.
if not for fucking Draculas running around.
Yeah, save them from
Yeah.
the disease and death.
Perfect. All right. So next up is who are the protagonists and antagonists. Right. We know that the protagonists are high school kids with powers, but who are the antagonists? Obviously, we know they're the demons, right? But kind of what I mean by this is who's the bad guy, right? Is there a central bad guy even? James, what do you reckon?
I think it's like a greater thing. Like, there's not a bad guy. There's a collective amount of bad people. But the reason that they're bad is because they've been infected. So it's like the world is slowly turning bad, and it's like, if you're fighting against the world, so to speak, kind of thing.
I don't mind that. I think that the infection angle might be overcomplicating it, but I agree with you that maybe it's actually, as these things came out, there's no central bad guy, but perhaps there are clans of them. Like,
Yeah.
you might go, okay, well, it's like, oh, fucking hell, Croydon's been taken over by the werewolves. And
That's it. That's better. Maybe there's no kind of organisation to it, and they fight with each other maybe as well. So it's like this empty world
Well,
is just like the Wild West. You know what I mean?
Battle of mafias.
Well, yeah, and as we said, that there's a comedy aspect to it. Maybe that's why there's no central antagonist. Maybe that's
because
why
they can't all agree with each other.
Yes, yeah.
They just want to enslave humanity, but that's it.
If they were organised, they could have done it on the first day. But and that's why they've split off. Right, perfect. So clans of monsters,
disorganised clans of monsters.
yeah, and they've all got sort of different motives, like
Different angles on it.
Yeah. They've sort of misunderstood the whole thing. I was going to say that maybe the guys that summoned them could be the overarching bad guys, like the monsters will respect them.
Yeah.
But I like.
Yeah, but they
I like
probably
this
gave
better.
them really like obscure or vague plans, which is why they're so fucked. They went, yes, well, we told you to take over the world, but then they're just like, yeah, but someone else is doing it, and we didn't like them getting on our turf.
And nobody can agree what they actually meant.
What that meant, yeah.
It's starting to sound fucking good, right? So, what do the players do in the setting? I think that we've sort of we know, right, that the demons and the monsters, these classic universal monsters, they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be demon slaying. It could be.
No.
It could be.
They
But
could be befriending. Like, oh, come on our side. Then
No. That would be fun. But what about if it's because we know that the adults are being taken? What do the players do in the setting? It's mostly rescuing people. Of course, there's going to be slaying on the way, but rescuing people, fine. But also trying.
It's going to be slaying.
Yeah, there's going to be slaying. So, are we happy with that, or is there any other sort of complexities you'd like to add into what the players do? Like, what
about depending on the amount of adults they save and I don't know, monsters that they either kill or maybe they're not killed, they're turned good or whatever. But depending on how many kind of good souls there are in the earth, kind of determines the kind of condition of the earth. If that makes sense. So the more people they save, the better it gets.
All right, so uniting everyone. Yeah, so basically what it is they need to get, in proper anime style, they need to get all people back together again. So it's almost like a theme of connection. If they save people and bring people back together again, then the world starts to repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. All right, we've done that. So the primary focus is saving adults, saving people, bringing people back together in a pandemic where people are instructed by the government to stay indoors. But but you know, the tertiary or secondary objective is going to be, well, you know, you get to do some fucking killing with your powers while you're at it. You know?
Yeah.
So what I've put down for the next one is, what does a typical quest look like? And I think we've kind of got like the overarching idea of what a quest looks like. But what then does it kind of look like? Is it sneaking in stealthily into Dracula encampment? So I just like the idea of there being multiple Draculas. So that's really tickled me.
I love it. Yeah, all arguing with each other.
No,
I'm Dracula.
no, it was your turn to make the coffee. You fucking bitch.
But I did it yesterday.
No, you didn't. That was Dracula Z. You are Dracula Q.
It was Strad.
But I make the muffins this morning.
I suck your blood.
What about if, because obviously, so magic items, but what about if, depending on what creatures you slay, that determines your kind of more powers you get?
So, okay, well, that's a nice idea for the setting. It could almost be like the first monster that you take out awakens your power.
Yeah.
We can get into that kind of stuff later, but for now, it's just sort of like, what's a typical quest? Is it...
Oh, typical quest. I don't think it would be sneaking.
You think it's high power?
I think it wouldn't be high power, not straight away. I think it'd just be a bit more, you know where all the factions are, and then it's a choice of, right, you know, someone's making the most noise, so I'll go against them today, or something like that. So it's just
I see what you mean. So it's almost like the sort of a typical quest is like research, planning, big attack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see. And by high power, I don't mean that you start off with the highest level, but I mean if you think of a typical kids in peril story, the idea is that really they're in danger, and that's one of the big things. But in this, you're formidable foes to the guys. But it's sort of so you're sort of doing it's sort of like the classic kids on bikes thing of research. Maybe you're in your little base, which is in the woods, you know, and then you're sort of planning and taking out tribes of monsters whilst trying to rescue adults.
Yeah.
So a typical quest is almost like planning, research, rescue kind of thing. So it's a lot of, you know, going around the city, navigating, trying to get resources to do the plan you want to do. Is everyone cool with that, or is there anything else you'd like to add in there?
Yeah, no, I like that. Maybe there's a map. Maybe it starts off in your hometown to give it that kind of local feel, and then maybe the more quests that are completed within the hometown, you gain more territory, and then it's kind of a power thing as well, you know. So more quests that are successful or determined on the outcome of how things go in an individual adventure will then have a knock-on effect on the overall map.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I've put in territory and I've added that into the hook, because if this is about uniting people, bringing people back together, maybe as you clear out territories, they become infused with light and monsters can't go there anymore, and you've united the people in that area.
Safe lands, yeah.
Perfect,
yeah.
All right. So we're actually halfway through, boys, and this is already fucking good. I'm liking the setting.
Yeah.
But so just to recap what we've got so far. So it's a pandemic of monsters invading this world because they were summoned by two idiots, and they're kidnapping adults, feeding on their sadness or something like that, or their sort of jadedness. And as a result, it's up to the high school kids who have been given the powers of gods to save the universe, to save the world. And it's comedy horror. You're battling demons, gaining territory, and trying to connect people back together during a time where they've been told to stay inside whilst clans of monsters roam your city. And it's all about research, planning, and rescuing adults. I think that's pretty good so far. We've got a few more steps to take, but before we do, let's go to the money zone.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
So, we've got a first sponsor ever on the show, which is pretty cool. So, support for the 3T RPG podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and that is a fucking good rhyme.
Yes.
So, Manscaped just launched in the UK, and we've gone years without using the right tools for the downstairs job. You can be one of the first men in England to experience their life-changing products. And, James, you ever shaved your balls? How did it go?
Several times. I'll tell you what, sometimes it's the most scary thing ever because, you know, they're precious and they're exposed. And if you don't have the correct tools, and this has happened, and it scares me every time I try. So I'm looking forward to potentially trying out their product because I know there's no nicking of the dicking. But yeah. Basically, long story short is that I've nicked my testes a couple times, and it is very unpleasant.
Well, you know why? It's because most razors are made for your face, not for the delicate testy satchel.
I'm talking about fucking a beard trimmer, mate.
Well, exactly. Even worse. I mean, so that is why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. Their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade, get it, to reduce grooming accidents.
Yes.
When I tell you this is premium, boys, I mean this is premium. The battery will last
This is
up
primo.
to... The battery lasts up to 90 minutes, right? So if you've got balls the size of a football field, you're fine.
Mate, I don't think it would... Mate, when would you... You won't need to charge it almost ever. You know, just a quick...
Well,
I mean, when you've got a penis my size, there's not much to change.
the waterproof technology here also allows you to groom your knob in the shower. Not your knob. If you've got hairy knob, see a doctor. Part of it. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for closer and more precise trimming. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology.
Oh, quiet stroke.
And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. If you're listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience this firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code 3TRPG at manscaped.com. Make your testes the besties. Get 20% off and free shipping with code 3TRPG at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com by using the code 3TRPG. Your balls will thank you.
Mazes and monsters is a far-out game.
Let's get back to the game, shall we? So the next question on my list here is there a main hub to the world? Now, this isn't necessary, right? It's just that this is how I like to run my games, and these questions are kind of the ones that I go through when I plan a campaign. So, is there a main hub? If so, what is it like?
Well, I would say that it starts off, like we said, with the clubhouse idea. That's kind of nostalgic and cool, very kids on bikes. Maybe the clubhouse starts off as the centre of the hub.
Yeah, I'm up for that. And if you and certain people you save might bring different talents to the clubhouse. You start expanding it. It's all again about the connection thing, you know. James, you got any ideas? Would you think there should be a main hub, or do you think it should just be roaming around to the Christmas tree?
I quite like the main hub idea, but I think you know, like the kids, the sort of clubhouse thing. If it's the clubhouse is usually attached to someone's house or it's on their land or something, so perhaps it could be, you know, at the kids' house obviously their parents have been taken, so it's the clubhouse and house, so there's more space for them to relax in, but they use the clubhouse for all of their you know, actual
Maneuvers.
Workings. But
I see what you mean. So it's sort of like it's just one of the kids' houses, you know. Perhaps the war room is the tree house out back. That's where you do your planning. Do you know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah.
Because that's when it really gets to work. So there's like downtime that can be had by the players inside the house, like just doing shit, making food.
Upgrading your
But then, like, you know,
upgrading your hub, you know, putting the adults to work. You save them. You could be like, right, we need a new wall put around this, right? Get that fucking fence up, Dad. We've been waiting years.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Well, I think we got something really cool here. The next one is, what system will we use? Because and bear in mind, listeners, this should come later. If you're planning a campaign, what you need to do is get out your idea first and then pick a system. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be. I just think I prefer.
Yeah, you limit yourself.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So let's, Nick, what do you reckon a good system for this would be?
Well, I was having to think about it because it's got this kind of magical element or superpower element, if you like. I do like the idea of it being quite powerful, but then also at the same time, I'm wondering whether it should be a player facing game, so that only they roll.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a tricky one actually.
We got to think about is like what system would suit this down to the ground. So we know that the kids have got the powers that were granted to them by gods, right? So okay, maybe ideally an open system. It could work in D&D. It would just have to be a medieval setting, maybe with some sort of modern updates to it. But ideally, what you kind of want is something that complements those. All right. Monster of the Week, for example, has a lot of similar themes to this game, but the only trouble that is that all the character classes are adults, I think. So, I'm thinking, and this is just...
could work. Cypher system could work.
I agree with that, because it's got quite a high-powered thing. It's got the ciphers. It's quite simple as well, and open, a very decent one for it. It's player-facing. I'm going to chuck my hat in the ring and just say that I think Savage Worlds is good. Because the thing about Savage Worlds and the way superpowers work, they're quite grounded, right? But so, for example, the way superpowers work, you have power points, which are like your minor points, and I think if you do the superpowers rule, you get 20, or you get more, but you only have one spell. So whatever power your character's been granted to you. So, say for example, we take the Greek pantheon of gods. You could be a made-up pantheon of gods, but let's say we take the Greek ones, right? Or just all religions, right? So it could be the Judeo-Christian God grants you the powers of healing to be like Jesus, or the power to turn water into wine for some reason, like you're the worst one in the team. But so if you have something like that, or say for example if you have Zeus, maybe he gives you lightning powers, then all you do is you take the bolt spell from Savage Worlds, trap it as lightning, and you're done, and that's your power, right? Obviously, amongst that, you can give your character loads of other stuff, but you've got that system really already set up for you there. If, say, for example, a god could give you the power of telekinesis, the power of taking over somebody's mind, the power of wall walking, if it's some sort of spider god, things like this.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it works as well, and I think that also Savage Worlds does kind of downtime pretty well, so. For me, that's my choice. And also, you could just have the setting rule that everyone has to take the young hindrance, or that young people aren't considered to be hindered, adults are. So just reverse it. Do you see what I mean?
That's a cool one. I like that. I like the reversal because it is a very young, well, not kids, but young adult focused game, let's say.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool. So they get all the, rather than being, you're young, you get a hindrance. Let's turn it around and actually say, for once, being young's a good thing in this world.
And here's the thing: another point in Savage Worlds' favour is that the setting Rippers has a system in it for a Ripper Lodge. So in your downtime, you're upgrading your lodge. You're giving it new features that help you during your missions, things like this. Yep. Also, ETU has things to do with exams. Although I sort of gather that the time that we're doing it in school isn't on at the moment.
No, that's the point. Yeah. Or what about if adult? Because adults could be like not a commodity, but we were saying about the more adults they save. How about then? It's like a case of you can save these tranced adults from like wherever they're being kept, but it doesn't bring them round, and they have to bring them back to like this safe place, and it's only after a certain progression in another way that whole group of people then like break from that curse, if you like, and become their self again.
We talked about how when you take a person away and you eliminate a tribe's presence in an area, this could be by scaring them off, by killing them, whatever, Once you've done that...
You get the territory.
Yeah, you get the territory. And to get an adult out of the trance where these demons are sapping energy from them, all you have to do is bring them to a territory.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it.
that you own, because it's now infused with the light of the various gods.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I personally think, as for system, Savage Worlds is what I'm saying. I think Cypher's a fucking good shout as well, because it's slightly more survivable, which is something you want in a game where you're playing children, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You don't want children getting murdered left,
All
right,
the
and centre. James Clark, how about you? You got any ideas for system?
Well, honestly, I was thinking about Cypher as well, because it's quite a nice player-facing one. It's heavy on the role play, and as when we played it, it's very, it's all about the heroes. But now you mention Savage, of course, that fits with bloody anything. And I forgot about their point system.
And bear in mind as well,
and I think that works really well.
ETU already features rules for a lot of this. I mean, the way you use magic in ETU, which is East Texas University, a setting for Savage Worlds, the way you use magic in that is quite different, but you could nick a lot of the edges and hindrances from that, and use them. And I did when I ran a Stranger Things game using Savage Worlds. But the only thing that you pointed out there was that in Cypher system, why it is heavy on the roleplay, I'm imagining this like, it's not like a group of friends that got the powers, it's random kids from the school that got selected. So you could be the posh girl, the bully, the goth, and they all hate each other, but they've got to come together to work, and the role play.
Yeah, and then that whole message kind of carries on, because then if you've got people that wouldn't normally be together that have to connect to save the world, and in doing so connect humankind, it's got another underlying message, isn't it?
Right, yeah, exactly. And, all right, so what are we thinking? Cypher or Savage Worlds? Let's pick.
I'm going to say Savage Worlds.
James?
Cypher.
I'm going to say Savage Worlds. Gutted, James.
Hey.
All right, so we've got Savage Worlds, and obviously one of the big bonuses of that is nicking stuff from all the different Savage Worlds settings and things like this, and they all kind of work here for what we're building up. Is there any new unique rules we want to add on? Don't have to, but sometimes it might be nice just to add a little bit of thing in there. So, for example, when I did the D&D game where you were, capturing monsters to build up a monster zoo, I had a rule that you didn't have to only hit monsters with stun damage. It just had to be the final hit. That's it, and then you capture it.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm just going to say that what I will do is I'm going to swap the young hindrance and give that to the adults, because their energy's been sapped. So all the adults have less points to spend, and they're less good at stuff, and the kids are the heroes in this case, so they don't have the young hindrance.
That's a good idea.
I like that.
I like the fact that it's very, because it's Savage Worlds and it relies on edges and hindrances. They're so easily buildable.
Yeah.
In that sense, so yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea.
But have you guys got any ideas for unique rules that you would add in, like setting rules?
What about to keep with the feel of powers and then they're given these kind of godly powers from the gods? Then you're not really going to need much use for, like, say, guns and stuff. So we could always say that there's no, I don't know, the kids don't need to use weapons because they've got these powers. So then that kind of gives it a kind of another angle.
Only thing is that you while I like that, because it sort of gives it a Misfits type feel, I think that it sort of hamstrings players, and I think that maybe it might be better to, I think, definitely make weapons harder to find, because let's be honest, right? If these demons have been summoned by accident, these classic monsters, they're coming back. They're trying to take over the world. They're going to need them. So you go to your local gun shop and try and loot it. It turns out that a group of Frankensteins have already stolen all of them.
They're going down the street with them.
But you could, go into your dad's cupboard and get his, old service revolver out.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. So that's scarce then. Weapons are scarce.
Okay, so it's more of a maybe it's weapons are scarce is kind of like setting flavour, but it's
more about making stuff. Yeah. It's more about making gadgets and traps and whatnot. More of a Goonies feel, Well,
that's a good idea. So as for unique rules that we add on, okay, things like a kitchen knife, things like a baseball bat, those are going to be almost like improvised weapons, although a baseball bat isn't really. But yeah, let's add in a unique setting rule that we would add in some sort of extra rules for improving improvised weapons via using household items. Let's do that. Yep. So weapons are hard to find because demons have taken them. So suddenly, what you're doing, you're putting bleach into a water pistol. Like things like this.
Yeah, exactly that. It pushes the kind of cool kid angle.
Yeah, perfect.
I've got a good idea as well in terms of unique rules. Is that every kind of ability or skill should be trapped?
Yeah,
so that it makes the player more unique.
I think that has to be a rule, right? So if you all of your powers that you get from the gods, obviously because it's Savage Worlds, you have to have a trapping. So for those that don't play Savage Worlds, what that means is that if you've got a power, you don't just say, I've got Bolt. If you're playing Ryu from fucking Street Fighter, then you have a Hadouken, right? It's just a renaming and a reflavouring of a spell. So everyone has to do that. So at the start of character creation, you pick your god. Are we saying it's modern day gods, like the ones that people worship now?
No, I think it could be any. It could be like even like the Japanese gods, because there was like so many and all. Yeah. Any.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So
any good gods?
No, any and all gods.
I think even bad ones, because they're kind of annoyed that somebody's muscling in on their turf and being bad.
That's the point. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, and it wasn't their idea in the first place or whatever. So okay, all right, any god.
Suddenly Satan, he's not a god, but like Hades, for example, he's like, where the fuck have all my minions gone? Where's my Draculas? And so
where's my Dracula's gone?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the second rule is that you have to trap it. You have to pick a god, and also that gives the GM a chance to roleplay. And it's going to get real offensive, so that's good.
Well, I like it as well because, like, an easy sort of, but why aren't the kids overpowerful? It's like, well, because they're in a bloody human body, so they can only
exactly.
They can only use a certain amount of power. You could have the power of the almighty, omnipotent God, but you can you have a pitiful
it's channeled
fraction
it's
of
channeled
it in
through
comparison.
Some fucking like pubescent child, like spotty teenager.
Exactly. So, like, it's the really easy thing to sort of explain. Oh, but why can't they just kill everyone?
You'll get more powerful as the game goes on, And in Savage Worlds, having one power seems boring, but it's not, because in Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, you can mod the powers, you can change them, so that you can spend extra power points, which you'll get as you level up. And if you've just got the Bolt spell and you've got Zeus's lightning, you can now, up the range to it, but like a mile, right? Add extra damage, add burst on it, and all this shit. So as you level up, it's like almost like your character's getting more used to his power and he's getting better at using it. So
yeah.
Okay, so for unique rules, we've got you have to trap skills, that weapons are scarce, and we're going to add in some sort of gadget making rules, like something simple. And of course, that the young hindrance, you don't have to take it, but the adults do have an hindrance. That's where we're at the moment. So the very last step, and believe me, it seems like we haven't got much done here, but the very, very last step is to plan the first game in your setting. Believe it or not, listeners, you don't need to map out the whole world yet. You can do that as you play. Each mission introduces new areas, right? So if say, for example, you're gaining back territories, well, all it is you don't need a big map. You just plan every mission with a new territory, and every time they do a mission, they get a +1 to their score of amount of territories they got. And then you can make a map on a different week. So all you need to do to get this game started, we've got everything we need now. All we need is planning the first game in the setting, and that's what you use to introduce players to the world. The whole thing about the gods is going to be introduced during character creation. Obviously, we'll have all of that shit noted down. But planning the first game in the session, we need to sort of go about sort of making an adventure. And all we really need, the way I tend to do this, is sort of 5 scenes. Okay, so 5 scenes, and you've got a whole night's worth of gaming. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go around the room and sort of we'll kind of like each person gets to plan a step, and we'll sort of all chime in and alter it together. But obviously, the first game of the setting, do we start out in the pandemic, or do we start out as it's fucking happening? Bear in mind, the only thing
Is there a way?
Go on.
Is there a way where, like, sort of the first game can be, it gives you a flash of the past? So, like, you start with normal life just to understand who your characters are before they are these super people, just to sort of where they're interacting and how they're doing.
Well, yeah, why don't we put that as the first scene? We'll do the first scene as a flashback. If
Origins.
Yeah, so what we'll say is everyone's created their character, but we go, okay, but we're going to start in school, right? You're having a maths lesson, and you haven't got your powers at the moment, so just forget those for a second. And the first scene we're going to play out, and you're like, your teacher's like, okay,
because it allows them to concentrate on who their characters are at the beginning, and then when it later on in the campaign they'll actually grow into these better people.
What we can even do is we can even have it as 4 mini flashbacks for each player at the game. So for example, you could say one player's playing the bully. You're smashing this kid's face into a locker. You're locking him inside it, and then suddenly you turn around and there's this. There's a Frankenstein in the hallway, and you're like, shit. You turn around and you notice that you were too concentrated on playing the bully, and now your school's getting smashed up. People are being bitten by Draculas. People are being carried across the hall by imps and dropped off the building. And that's when you realise that you're infused with power, and you see Jesus in the hallway next to you, and he goes, hey man, it's cool. Here's some powers, yo. And sort of we go around the table doing that with each character, like saying how the apocalypse happened. And then it's just like, okay, so cool. I'm going to put in the second scene and say, we start in the house, right?
Well, the reveal, wouldn't it?
Well, that was the reveal during the flashback. So we'll start in the clubhouse. And cool. So that's scene 2. So the clubhouse, right? And maybe you could just, that's where you just drop some intel, right? We're keeping it simple for game 1. We're not going full sandbox, but you drop some intel. You say, and like something like, old Nobby from the school, he's there in your treehouse. He's not one of your gang, but he's heard that in addition to your parents being carried off, he knows where one of them is, and he reckons his mum has been kept hostage down at Sainsbury's by a group of imps, right? So that's where you sort of have the. How about that?
And that's what. Yeah. I like it. So basically scene 2 is like you said, drop some information. You've got the group of people that some of them might not even be friends, might not even like each other, but for due to circumstances, everyone's been put together
in the clubhouse, and they've been given a mission
in the clubhouse.
They don't know where their parents are. They've got no intel on that, but they've heard this. But they've heard another kid's mum, could even be one of the player characters, is in a supermarket, and you sort of drop that information on them. So, scene 3, Nick, what's happening?
Well, that'd be the supermarket then, I'm guessing. So we're talking Sainsbury's. We're talking scene 3 would be some investigation. They've been told what they've been heard, the rumour. Someone's mum's been held hostage by some, what did we say, imps?
Yeah, imps.
Imps down at Sainsbury's. So I'll say scene 3 is Sainsbury's, and and everything.
Would it be recon or would it be rescue?
Well, that's down to them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up to them. I mean, scene 2, they can do as much planning as they want. They could even be the classic scene of them in the clubhouse, Mappasanos on the fucking table. For those that don't know, Sainsbury's is a supermarket in England, but one of them sticks like a knife into it, but it's a plastic one because they're kids and it just shatters. But scene 3, so scene 3 is the supermarket, right? And you don't need to put any information about this down. All you know is that they're given free reign of a fucking supermarket. You don't even need a map. Everyone knows what a fucking supermarket looks like, just that, but ruined, and there's little devilish imps flying around.
Throwing cans of corn at people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, scanning an apple, but putting a banana in their basket instead.
So we need 2. So basically, you don't need 2 more scenes, but we got 2 more. So what we could do, as after.
Oh yeah, maybe an if, right? Just if they come out of it in this way, then I'll chuck this scene in.
Well,
right?
that's a good idea, because the whole campaign, depending on how much planning, how much effort they put into it, this whole episode could be them skulking around the town, finding things to do the assault on the Sainsbury's, right? But
they could just not get to it. Yeah.
If you have extra time, what you could do is after Sainsbury's, you've rescued Nobby's mum, and you've got to get her back to the house. If you've got time for an extra encounter, here's where you do it. From the Sainsbury's, you're looking over at the area where your house is, the one small territory you own, and you notice that it's the only place not being rained on, a beam of godly sun sort of glowing on it, almost as if it's blessed. And you've got to get the mum back to the clubhouse whilst being chased by another group of monsters who notice you when you're coming out of the Sainsbury's.
Mummies.
And
it's a bunch of mummies.
Yes, mummies.
You see what you think is a bunch of loo rolls, but in actual fact, it's mummies.
It's mummies.
Yeah, you look over. What's that pile of bog roll over there? Oh no! And then let's just put the last scene as sort of a wrap up. We could put in a scene there where, like, maybe the kids have bonded a little bit and you do some interludes.
Yeah.
Because Savage Worlds, it has interludes in it. So we just say at the end, right, you guys are out of breath. You're back at home. You're panting. You're wheezing. And you look over at the bully who once locked you in a locker while the fucking Frankenstein was breathing down his neck. And you realise that this guy saved your life today, etc. Something like that. So you would do an interlude and allow the kids to sort of play out the final scenes. And just say,
And bond up a bit, yeah.
Yeah, bond up a bit. Maybe say, you know, what are you doing now that this ordeal is over? And maybe some of like the goth will go to his room and sort of look at the Van Halen poster on his ceiling and sort of say, I hate this.
This is what I wanted.
We happy with that adventure, right? So the adventure we got going is we flash back to a school and how all the kids got their powers. A 10-minute scene each. Then we start in the clubhouse. It's irrelevant how they got there, and in fact, you could even ask them to make it up. Say, how did you get back? And
how did you organise? Yeah.
Turns out what they've got to do is rescue another kid's mum from a Sainsbury's. She was flown off by little imps carrying her, and as you come out, you see a pile of loo roll, and you realise, oh shit, it starts moving. Mummies. You've now got to get the mummy back to the base without being captured by the mummy, Egyptian mummy. And then we end on the interludes.
Question.
Go on.
Go on.
I really can we do a one-off AP for this?
Oh god, it's good though, isn't it? I'm actually surprised at how fun this setting sounds.
Because surely we want to put more proof in the pudding at some point. And this is like a massive thing. I mean, it could be 6 months' time. But at some point, can we get around to playing this?
Yes, please.
This is what we've done.
Let's ask the listeners if they want to hear it.
Well, I think now we need to...
No, we're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, fuck you, listeners. We need to come up with a name for the setting. This isn't important, but it's quite good often. Because this is just... The way we're doing it here, this is just how you do it at your table game, right? It doesn't need a flashy name like an AP does, but I do like to have a flashy name. But I think you could just name it after a town or something like that. You could just call it like, Framley Hills.
Yeah, you could.
Framley Hills.
Or Wentworth Garden.
That's a shit name for a town. What about Spooky Sunday?
Oh, Spooky Sunday.
Sorry, that hurt. That actually hurt me to say that. Okay, forget the name. Forget the name. It's not working. It's not working. Right. What about High School of the Dead? No. Right. So
the fucking hell.
Okay. Right. You don't.
What about COVID the Barbarian?
What about the Class of the Apocalypse?
Class of the Apocalypse. We'll just call it that. That's fine. So let's just do a quick recap of the setting, right? It's 2020. There's a pandemic that's gone on. I mean, a sort of apocalyptic event. People have been quarantined at home and told to stay at home by the police, the government, everyone, because some idiots did a bloody ritual, and now all of the Universal monster movies have come out of hell and come to take over the earth, but none of them can agree on the plan, so they've split up into groups. You play high school kids whose job it is to fight them and restore communion back to the world, reuniting people and bringing areas back into the light, and the gods have given you powers to help do this. And it's all about getting territories back, and basically as well, the typical mission looks like researching, planning, rescuing people, taking back areas, and of course you have a main hub, which is your house/treehouse, which you upgrade as the session goes on. It's going to be in Savage Worlds. We've got our little unique rules in there, and the first episode is all about rescuing a mummy from some imps, as in a mum,
yeah,
a mom. All right, well, I think we've got a good setting there. I would play the dick off of this.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, me too.
Fucking stupid, but it will be fun. And I think, as for the horror comedy, right, it's not going to be visceral, gory, 18-rated horror. I'm thinking Goosebumps level.
Yeah, exactly. Goosebumps, Goonies. What's that other film from the 80s? Is it The Monster Squad? That kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it's like silly things like that. You can either have folkloric monsters like a representative of the town, and the good thing about all of this is We don't need to come up with a big pantheon of monsters. They already exist, and you can just reskin monsters from the Savage Worlds book. We don't need to come up with a pantheon of gods because people can choose whatever they want. All it is essentially is a trapping anyway. So there we go. We've got a fucking setting, boys. Class of the Apocalypse.
Yes.
Class of the Apocalypse.
I like this. I like this a lot. I just really want to do an adventure with a group of various Draculas.
Oh, can we be them at one point?
Oh, now that would be fun.
Imagine if we flipped it. The opposing setting.
Even though we have done that in Vampire.
Yeah, that's what Vampire the Masquerade is. No, but Vampire the Masquerade isn't all the iterations of Dracula. So you've got Blackula, you've got the Bram Stoker Dracula, you've got Strahd von Zarovich.
Nosferatu.
Yeah. Well, Nosferatu was originally a version of Dracula, wasn't he? He's Count Olok.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got all these different Draculas, and sort of they've all come from sort of different mythologies, and
is it just What We Do in the Shadows, the RPG?
Yeah, but What We Do in the Shadows is different. This is all Draculas, and they all think they're the real one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got you. It's all. We even talking the Count from Sesame Street.
Yes. Oh, he'll be there. Yeah. His whole thing is that he'll sort of he's just counting enemies on the battlefield. He doesn't hit them, but he's like, two children.
He'll just count you to death.
Can we get a count on that?
When it gets to 0, you die.
I have reached this boat. No, when he gets to 666, it takes about an hour.
That's his spell.
All right, guys. So, yeah, I hope you liked our setting, Class of the Apocalypse, coming soon to a retailer near you.
Yeah, free to RPG Publishing.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to. But, yeah, I actually like this. I think it's childish and silly, but I also think it would be really fucking fun. But that is going to be it for the main subject. And let's get into some electro letters.
In the future, you will be able to send a letter or parcel from anywhere on the planet. This, sir, is the electro letter.
So this time, thought I'd keep it simple. I just asked for your guys' questions. We'll do a little Q&A. First one comes in from Daniel Irwin. He says, "What's the best game mechanic?"
Oh my God!
Sorry, guys.
Have you got another microphone near your ass?
That's right. I've got the fart mic on.
Well, we're being serious. It sounded like is your phone in your pocket?
Do you know? Maybe is this clearer?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, it's using my phone's fucking microphone rather than my headset.
See, this is what I said.
I'll tell you what. So it was right next to the mic. I'm sorry, guys.
It was so loud.
It's like Dolby surround sound.
Sorry, I just can't get over the fact that your mic was up your bum, basically. What have you eaten?
I don't know what's happening to me. Help me.
Oh my God.
Help me. Send help.
Send
help. Doctor. It stinks in here, mate.
Oh my God. Right. Best. Oh my God, that's really
right. Let's try to focus. Right, let's start again.
Daniel,
this time I decided to keep it. Shut up. This time I decided to keep it simple and just ask for your questions. We're going to do a little Q&A here. So Daniel Irwin, he says, "What's the best game mechanic, subsystem, or idea you've come across? Can it be because it's elegant, fun, or downright nasty? Choice is yours." I'm going to say one that I very much like is using playing cards for initiative. Nice, simple one.
Yeah.
Savage Worlds does it, and it's just really easy to see to re-roll initiative each round for individual players and to see who's going when. You just quickly whip out your cards, whip out your Johnson, and just get flinging them across the table.
Get on with it. Yeah. I like re-roll tokens.
Yeah.
I think it's a great tool to have, and I like that. You could use them in any game really, where if you like, and I just think they're great. It's a nice thing to have, and especially if you've got an actual little token or on your table with you. I don't know. I just always like that.
Well, I tend to use them in every game now, and the thing about it is it just keeps game flow going, because you're not going to end up with loads of rounds of people missing and not hitting each other. If people want to hit, they're going to spend their fucking pennies, and it gives you a really easy way.
Don't let them carry over though.
Yeah, never do that.
That's how you keep it going. Never.
What about you, James Clark?
I like I like the crit fail overrides all, because it doesn't always.
Nice.
That's true. Like
so-
in systems where you can Benny a crit fail, I hate that. If
Yeah,
it,
I hate it.
Yeah.
But I also like it, not just that, so that's part of it. So firstly is that, but also the second part, which you do loads, Harrison, which is it's not your typical crit fail. It's not like, oh, you're dead, like, you know, oh, it's like, it's a fumble table, yeah?
Yeah.
There's something like that. So it's a crit fail overrides all, and then a fumble table to complement it.
Yeah, well, that's really
yeah.
A DCC sort of innovation that I absolutely love. I mean, rolling on tables for fumbles. I mean, look at our actual play. When suddenly somebody goes to stab somebody with a pen, accidentally blinds himself, then the monster tries to hit you, and his fucking hammer gets stuck in his jumper. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, in the game the other day, we had a guy just searching for a suit in this woman's room and got a crit fail, and I'm like, what's going to happen as a result of just searching for a fucking suit and crit failing? I mean, how bad can it be? And I was like, okay, you search in this dresser, like in this trunk at the end of the bed, and you fall in, and it locks you in, like it locks behind you.
Yeah.
Which was really cartoonish and stupid, but it was funny as shit.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, that's it. I have to say, another one, sort of going back onto DCC, is I do particularly like sort of rolling for spells, because it brings back the unpredictability of magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And I like the the different manifestations of the spell depending on how you roll or that kind of.
It's beautiful, and it just means
it
that
is.
wizards, they're not really a known quantity. Even at higher levels, you can more reliably roll higher numbers, but it just means that, like, throughout the game, sometimes a really shit wizard can do something way beyond his power, and he happens to be pointing in the wrong direction because he's thinking, I'm just going to fireball that one guy. And it's like, no, you've just done a flamethrower, and your guys are in the melee as well, so you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do like that. That's good.
Terry Hansen, he has like a 3-pronged question for us. His first one, he says, other than Umerica, because it's fucking amazing, for listeners, this is a post-apocalyptic weird gonzo setting for DCC. What is your feelings about other DCC settings? What are your opinions on DCC being a universal generic RPG system disguised as a sword and sorcery game? I like other settings for DCC. Well, we played Cyber Sprawl Classics, which basically proves what Terry's saying. I mean, it can be used for so many different things.
Yeah.
Cyber Sprawl Classics, is a cyberpunk mod for a fantasy sword and sorcery game, and it's probably the best cyberpunk game I've played.
Yeah. It sounds
agreed.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
the system and mechanics in it just complement it so well. It's been hacked.
As for sort of other settings for DCC, I've not really delved that much. Like I've got Umerica. Obviously, we played Cyber Sprawl Classics. It's incredible. I've got the Lankmar one, which looks great. A lot of really cool innovations in there, like for healing, for example. You have to eat, and depending on what you eat, it heals different things. So, like, it sort of really goes into that feel of being in a scummy city, like, oh shit, I'm really banged up, let's go get a pint.
MCC is really good.
Oh, MCC, yes, I forgot about that. That one's fucking great. I'm using a lot of that stuff currently, and, I love other DCC settings. I want more of them, I mean, and there's even the sub settings, like, they've released an adventure, and it did so well on Kickstarter, it became a full setting, like, Shudder Mountains, for example, or the Purple Planet, and those are the only two I can think of right now. But yeah, DCC's great, man, and that's one of the reasons that it should be picked up by just about anyone, because it's got so many good other settings for it. I mean, the Lankmar one is worth it alone. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
He says next, what is the coolest mighty deeds one of your warriors have pulled off in a game? And I'll just say, I don't think people ever remember to use their mighty deeds in game.
No, not really.
Because James,
it's one of those things that we're not used to.
It's like one of the best things ever. I mean, so essentially what these are, for people that don't know, in DCC, warriors, instead of having feats and having all these different things they can do, all they do is they have a deed die, and this is their attack bonus. So instead of getting an attack bonus, you roll a die every time. If you hit a 3 or above on that die, and the die continues to increase in size as you level up, if you hit a 3 or above, what it means is that your character can pull off a cool maneuver, but you announce it before you roll. So it could be, I want to disarm my opponent. It could be, I want to kick my opponent down the stairs. I want to trip him up. Things like this. And all you have to do is hit a 3 on that die. It's difficult because at first you're rolling a D3. By the end of it, you're rolling like a D50 or something. So But characters never remember to use it. They like the variable attack bonus because they can get a +3 at level 1. But it's like,
Yeah.
But it's like, I very rarely remember. People very rarely remember to do it. And my best one, I guess, that I've seen is that my brother wanted to attack somebody, and he said, "I want to swing across the chandelier as I do it." And so he swung across the room and used the momentum to add extra damage, and it was fucking awesome. And he knocked the opponent over too, I believe. So yeah, but. Yeah, that's the trouble. People don't remember. James, you played a warrior for a whole campaign and didn't use it once, I don't think.
I think I maybe used it like once or twice, and that was like using my shield to skate on, right?
I think it was that. Yeah, like Lord of the Rings.
That's pretty cool.
He says his last question is, what's your favourite funky dice? I really like the D7.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it, that one? I'll tell you what, that disgusting D50 is growing on me, but I do want to get a golf ball D50 instead.
I like the D14 a lot because it's so round.
Yeah, I like the D14.
Oh yeah.
It just keeps going. That's got to be in a train. I've seen people roll it and it just goes off the table, like goes for ages.
See you later.
It reminds me of that.
Cool.
You know those memes, those memes of the DuckTales theme, where something just starts flying. It's like that. The D14 and just takes off. The D3 is a good one. I have to say, I prefer the funky shaped D3 to the D6 that's just labelled differently.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, the funny little the little like kind of jelly bean type shape. I like
the jelly bean. Yeah,
I love the Book of Life. Book of Life's really good.
So that's a D2. For some reason, Nick calls it the Book of Life, because it looks like a little book with a 1 or a 2 on each side.
Yeah,
I like those as well. They're cool. Have you ever seen a D1?
Is it just a dot?
Isn't it just...
No, it's a real thing. One of our players has got it. I'll tell him to bring it, but you won't see it because we're playing online. It's a Mobius strip, so it's that mathematical shape that only has one side.
Yeah.
So you roll it. It's always a 1. I don't know why you've got it. It only has one result, so what's the point? You roll a D1. What'd you get? A 1. It's both a crit fail and a crit fumble at the same time. Alright, sweet. So, that's our favourite funky dice. Next one comes in from Stephen Keith. He says, have you ever been so bored that you counted the corners and edges of your dice and then subsequently felt weirdly uncomfortable when you realised that D6s and D8s have the same number of edges? Did the fact that they both have 12 edges somehow break a small part of your brain, or did it seem perfectly reasonable to your superior British intellect?
Stephen, what the fuck?
He's blown my mind, man.
You're meant to be a talking sword, and that's it.
Yeah, you blown my fucking mind, man. I don't know what to do anymore.
I don't really like this question.
No,
it scares me.
It does. It kind of makes me. It does.
Icks me out.
It does, man. Yeah. It's like we better move on. Martin Punter. He says,
the same number of
"Shut up, please. Don't remind me." Martin Punter. He says, going way back to episode 33, there was a mention of a D20 light collaborative RPG called Ice or something. Does anyone have a link? As I can't find it. It was the same episode you were reviewing some mobile scanning thing. If that helps. Does anybody know what this is about?
Oh, was he talking about ICRPG?
Yes.
Of course he is.
Yes. Maybe because it sounds like...
Been thinking about it for ages.
ICRPG.
It's got to be, isn't it?
It has to be.
Yeah,
Episode 33, core. Let's go back a bit.
It is a D20 light game. Icy. Fiery RPG.
Yeah,
it's icy.
It is. That is it, yeah.
Hey.
Alright, but what's this fucking mobile scanning shit that we're talking about?
Some mobile scanning thing, if that helps. No idea. For episode 33, it's going back some.
Yeah, sorry about that. The quality of those ones. Sorry about the quality of this one, actually. We got one last question from Owen Lean. He simply says, what the hell is wrong with you?
A lot.
Well, many things.
Yeah, which you
Listen, a lot of therapists have been paid a lot of money to find that out, and if they can't, then nobody's going to figure it out, so shut up.
There.
Alright, let's do an outro, shall we?
Let's.
Maybe we should go. That senior warned us about playing RPGs.
Why would you listen to him? He's a fucking idiot. Come on, let's play.
After all, what did he say would happen?
You want to answer that one, Debbie?
Mike said that once we start, we won't want to stop.
That's true of eating, drinking, and other things as well.
Yeah, but you didn't have to say it in a creepy way. Come on, I'm trying to get Debbie into RPGs. This isn't helping. Come on, alright, go away, Sheila. Come on.
Surely I can't be of any harm to...
Look, what did I just say? Come on, shut up. Go away. Go over there. Go
I
ahead.
hope you are not disrespecting Mistress Frost.
You too, Mike? Why are you speaking like that? Come on, stop taking this shit too seriously. Let's just play some fucking RPGs. Come on. Alright, don't forget that this fucking podcast was sponsored by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code 3TRPG. And of course, the little book of battle mats from Loki. These guys are fucking cool. Shave your balls, do it, use your battle map while you're doing it. Like it, who cares?
You can shave it onto it, wipe it clean, it's all good.
I was worried though that when we got this sponsor that people might think it was a joke, but I think the guy who messaged us to sponsor us, obviously he knows he picked the right team.
Yeah.
If there's anybody on the internet that's willing to talk about balls, it's us.
Definitely us.
If you want to contact us, just hit up 3trpgpod@gmail.com or go onto the Facebook, our Twitter. We're also, on YouTube as well, obviously. So yeah, check those out, and obviously go to DriveThruRPG and check out 3T RPG Publishing. We got a couple of light and cheap products for you there to support the show, and also get a little product for your shelf as well. And we've also got a Patreon, so head over there, search us up, and donate if you want to be part of our dark army. And I've been Harrison Hunt.
I've been Nick Lambslice.
And I've been Jimmy Jambo McGee Clark.
And remember that D20s are cool, but 20Ds, now that's a good time.